It's a nice time we meet again for a session of readership and management. So this is a new session I've started doing. So readership and management is a new unit that is under CPA after the change of the syllabus. So I would like to talk a bit about what this readership and management pertains with the start of the introduction part of it. That is from the chapter 1, from the chapter 1 of the topic. So this is the notes I've prepared for you guys. So readership and management, so that is under chapter 1. So under chapter 1, the introduction to management. So the student will be required to understand about the importance of management, to talk about the principles of management, to talk about management as a science, as an art, or as a profession. Then we have functions and roles of management. Then we will be able to talk about the levels of management and managerial skills. So when we talk about management, we have various scholars who have defined this term management from various perceptions, that is from various point of views. So the first individual is Mary. So Mary said management being an art of getting things done through people. So remember that in organizations, for the tasks which was required to be carried out, so remember that efforts must be put in place by the employees for them to get the work done. Then we have Henry Fayol. So Henry Fayol talked about management as to manage is to forecast and to plan. So remember that when you are talking about to forecast, it's all about looking for tomorrow, what will be there tomorrow. Or he said is to plan. To plan again is all about what you see or what you are aiming to achieve, what you see to achieve in the coming future, or what you are aiming to achieve in the future. Or he said to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. So to manage is to focus and to plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control. That is according to Henry Fayol. So Friedman said that it's all about the transformation of resources into utility. So remember that organization says we might have resources, but how can we mobilize? How can we be able to put together these resources so that we have an output? So it's Friedman talked about management as the transformation of resources into utility. Then we have Peter Drucker. So he talked about so the basic task of management as a twofold. He talked about from the perspective of marketing and innovation. So he looked at management from two areas, marketing and innovation. Then we have Andreas Kaplan. So he talked about European management is a cross-cultural societal management approach based on interdisciplinary principles. Then we have keywords in this topic. The first topic, we have readership, accountability, strategy, charisma, decision-making, engagement, motivation, planning, directing, and controlling. So let us talk about a bit summary now after we have looked the management from the point of various scholars. So let us now talk about management in summary. So management is the process of getting things done with and through people. This is all about through employees. For the manager himself, to be even more specific, for him to get things done, remember that he has to arrange his workforce, the human resource, so that you will be able to make the work done in a formally organized groups by guiding and motivating their efforts towards common objectives. So it involves creating an environment in which people can perform as individuals and yet cooperate towards attainment of group goals. Remember that for your employees to achieve their goals, also they have to work under a better environment, and a friendly environment. That is why after we have said that management entails getting things done through people, at the same time, these people have to perform in a better environment. So it involves creating an environment in which people can perform as individuals and yet cooperate towards attainment of goals. So that is a short definition of management in summary. So remember that when we teach management in theory, it's very clear. Everything comes out to be very clear. But now to put management into practice, here now, it's where there's a challenge. That is why the two pictures can portray the management in theory, whereby everything is well organized. Like now you can see from the part of theory and the part of practice. So that is why I went ahead to define more about the theory and the practice. So I said that the theory of management is easier and can be learned in classroom setting, since it relates to knowledge acquisition and book learning only, encompassing predefined contexts. So reading notes and understanding everything, that is a simple work. But now, how can you be able to put this into practice? So there's a lot of difficulties in putting everything into practice. So we were continuing from the point of putting management into practice, whereby I've said that there's a lot of difficulties. So these difficulties is all about, remember that in this world, there's a lot of different behaviors of peoples with different behavior. So the irrational people. So these unpredictable events which can par you from putting what you have learned about management into practice. There's a comprehensive market warfare, cash flow shortages, problematic relationships, and an infinite number of unique contexts. So we have a lot of factors, so which we cannot mention all of them. So I've just mentioned a few. That is why we have said that an infinite number of unique contexts. So then now we always look management from three perspectives. So we have management as so from two perspectives, not three perspectives. So we can look management from the point of an art and from the point of being as a science. So when we talk about management as an art or management as a science, so let me start from management as a science. So when we talk about management as a science, it's all about, because it has an organized body of knowledge which contain certain universal truths. So remember that there's a lot of things we consider or we study, then you can be able to see them practically in the world of management. So from that perspective, we can say that management is considered to be a science because it's an organized body of knowledge which contains certain universal truths. So what about as an art? So it is an art because managing requires certain skills which are personal possessions of managers. So science provides the knowledge and art deals with the application of knowledge and skills. So the science will provide the knowledge and the art, the application of the knowledge and skills. So therefore management is a blend of between science as well as an art, because it proves the principle and the way these principles are applied in matter of art. So it's not sufficient for managers to just know the principles, but you must also apply them in solving various managerial problems. That is why science and art are not mutually exclusive, but they are complementary to each other. So that's why we have said that they are a blend. So management is a blend of both science and an art. Like now, tea and biscuits, bread and butter. So when you want to take your breakfast, let's say a good breakfast, you can apply butter on your bread. The same way, for management, it has to be considered to be as a science and at the same as an art. The same way you apply butter to a bread for you to consume. So to be specific now, let's talk about management as a profession. So a profession may be defined as an occupation that requires specialized knowledge and intensive academic preparations, to which entry is regulated by a representative body. So the essence of a profession we look is from the point of specialized knowledge. So a profession must have a systematic body of knowledge that can be used to develop to the development of professionals. So every profession must have a deliberate effort to acquire expertise in the principles and the techniques. Similarly, a manager must have devotion and involvement to acquire the expertise in science of management. It's the same way for you to be an accountant. Remember that you have to acquire the CPA profession. You have to acquire the CPA profession. Then the formal education and training, there are a number of institutions and universities to impart education and training for a profession. No one can practice a profession without going through a prescribed course, like now the example I've given for CPA. Then we have social obligations. So a profession is a source of livelihood, but professionals are primarily motivated by desire to serve the society. Like now, I can give a good example of this guy from Moi University who went ahead to reveal the corruption cases which were going ahead there at Moi University, at which for now you can see what's going on there. So to be a professional, yes, other than just doing your work, you have to serve the society, work for the best interest of the society. So the actions are influenced by social norms and values. So similarly, a manager is responsible not only to its owners, but also to the society, and therefore is expected to provide quality goods at a reasonable price to the society. Being socially responsible, anyway, in simple terms. Then we have code of conduct, representative associations like ISPA. So for the code of conduct, as a professional, remember that you have to appoint to code of conduct. So integrity, honesty, and especially ethics. For accountants, you know those 5 principles which you have to adhere to: independency, integrity, professionalism. So representative associations. So for the regulation of a profession, existence of a representative body is a must. For example, ISPAC administers standards of competence for accountants. From the above discussion, it's now quite clear that management fulfills several essentials of a profession. So even then, it's not a full-fledged profession because it's not a because it does not restrict the entry in managerial jobs on account of one standard or another. No minimum qualification has been prescribed for managers. No management association has the authority to grant a certificate of practice to various managers. Competent education and training facilities do not exist. managers are known by their performance and not mere degrees. Not mere degrees. So then we have functions and roles of management. So the functions of management are about planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. So the roles of management, from now, this scholar called Mitzberg, he categorizes the management roles. So for the functions, I would have to look for them in the coming topic in depth. So remember that planning for now is like a topic, organizing is a topic, staffing is a subtopic. So all of them are subtopics. That is why I have just mentioned that functions of management consist of planning, organizing, we have staffing and directing, and we have controlling. So when it comes to the relevant subtopics, I will cover them in details. Then we have the roles of management. So the roles of management include interpersonal roles, we have informational roles, and we have decision roles. So for today, I will stop at these roles of management. This was just an introductory class. I will be doing more videos for leadership and management in the coming sessions. But at the same time, whoever could drag to buy my notes for leadership and management or attend my classes for leadership and management so that we can do more discussions on the same, you can be able to reach me through 0728 760 546 so that we can be able to cover all the required within the 1 month which is remaining, and at the same time we handle various questions from the case study part of it to the remaining part of that exams you always do, because I understand that there is a case study 40 marks whereby I would be able to give out techniques on how to handle that. Then there's this part of question 2 to 5, and that one is obvious based on the notes. So you can have a nice time and a nice weekend so that we meet next time when I will be starting from the roles of management. But whoever could be interested in joining my leadership and management classes, you are highly welcome. Thank you.